Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another installment of BrickWall Reviews, as we're calling them for this month, BrickWall Horror. Rah, thunder, 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 lightning, 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 thunder, lightning. I'm Dave, and my bad, y'all. I was just real hyped with that. I'm Dave, and right now I'm going to talk to y'all about a movie called Last Night in Soho, starring Anya Taylor-Joy, and so y'all know how I do. I don't really ever have things prepared for me in front of me. All right, and Thomason McKenzie, Matt Smith, as well as many other people in this movie. Before I get into it, I want to remind you guys, go ahead, hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel, not already subscribe. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. We'll be the BrickWall Podcast and Gaming. And with all that out of the way, get ready. Next week on the Twitch channel, the gaming is about. Y'all should know what's coming. If y'all know me, y'all should know what's coming. That's my teaser for next week's streams on Twitch in terms of gaming. Okay, y'all should know what is coming. If y'all pay attention to me and what I like and what I get hype about, y'all should know what's coming starting next week on the Twitch channel. Boom. That's all I'm gonna say. So anyway, the movie I'm gonna be talking about right now is Last Night in Soho. So and for those of you who don't know, this is my BrickWall Horror Month. I know I'm backtracking, where I talk about a whole bunch of horror movies and specials and everything like that. And yeah, we're almost through the month. And let me tell you something. I have not really made that big of a dent in the list, and I had to rearrange a lot of stuff because I lost access to one of the streaming services I was going to pull from. But all good because all good. So anyway, Last Night in Soho. I know, my bad. It took so long to get here. So this is a movie that came out in 2021, which I could have sworn this movie came out sooner than that. And it follows an aspiring fashion designer who is mysteriously able to enter the 1960s, where she encounters a dazzling wannabe singer. However, the glamour is not all it appears to be, and the dreams of the past start to crack and splinter into something far darker. So, this movie was directed by Edgar Wright, who is actually director of another movie that I'm about to review coming up very soon. And he does a lot of great movies. I love his cinematography. I love his style of directing. He's very fast-paced, quirky, very interesting director. I really do like his direction style. This is kind of a first as a straightforward horror film, a straightforward spooky film for the season. However, I will say that there are a few things that I kind of didn't really gel with, and I'm not sure if that's because of personal preference or if that's because that's actually how the movie was. I'll get more into that later. But so the performances for this, how it goes is that so the main character, who is Eloise, or you call her, she prefers to be called Ellie in the movie, played by Thomason McKenzie. So she kind of grew up in a small town and wants to be a fashion designer, gets accepted to a school that's out in London. So she goes to London, and that's where she meets her roommate. Her roommate's a little different. And at first, when she meets her roommate, who is played by Sinove Carlson. Oh, girl, I hope I said your name right. Her name is Jocasta. So they at first they don't really like. It seems like she's having like a pissing contest. So like Jocasta is always like, oh, well, you had this happen, but my tragedy was greater. My fall down the stairs was from 4 flights. Yours was from only 3. That's exactly how she is. And, meanwhile, Ellie's just trying to fit in. She's just trying to get accustomed to the city and stuff like that. So one night she, kind of like her first night there, she kind of like ends up having to sleep downstairs in the common area of where she's renting the room at, because her roommates in there having sex, and then downstairs they're having a party. She feels like really nervous around people. One of the key things about Ellie as well is that her mother passed from suicide, and so her grandmother is afraid that Ellie might get overwhelmed and maybe go down the same path. So she always tries to encourage Ellie to, if you need help, ask for it. If you ever need to talk, let me know. I'm always here for you, et cetera, et cetera. So what ends up happening, though, is that Ellie eventually, she moves out, gets her own place. And the first night she sleeps in there, she has this dream that kind of transports her to the 1960s and excuse me, transports her into the 1960s and where she finds herself looking at. So I'm trying to figure out, like, how can I explain this? Like, she's her, but then she's also living the life of another. I forgot what you would call that. Damn, it's like, you know how like when you in the body of somebody else, you look in the mirror, you see you, but then you also see the other person that you are, something like that. I forgot. Look at the thumbnail. That's what it is. The thumbnail for this video is what it is. Okay, so like she's living out the life of Anya Taylor-Joy's character, whose name is Alex or Alexandra, and at first, everything's all good and well. Alexandra wants to be like a singer and a star and stuff like that. And things go well. But the next dream she has, she starts to realize that, hey, something's not right about her. Like, things aren't really as they seem. She's grinding a little bit more to be a star, and she's having to do some questionable things with questionable people. I won't get too much into it. But the movie does have this theme of like, because I don't want to give it away, really, because I think that a lot of people will find that the messaging behind this movie is really interesting. But I mean, I guess I can say it kind of deals with, you know, in the industry nowadays, and it's kind of prevalent now, especially with the whole Diddy situation going on. You have people that are in environments, they maybe go to parties, they maybe get invited to be famous by people, and to be famous they have to perform favors in order to get certain relationships going. And if you're thinking what you are probably thinking, then that is what the movie, not, it doesn't allude to it, that's what it is. Like, she is asked and tasked to perform favors in order to get a boost in her notoriety as an artist. And so through that, like the more it goes on, and like the Ellie keeps dreaming and keeps living out these moments as Alex, and kind of keeps seeing out like the decline of not just Alex's moralities, but just like her mindset in general, to the point where at one point Ellie doesn't even want to go to sleep. She starts to see the ghost outside, because a weird thing, like Ellie can like see her mom, like her dead mom sometimes, her grandma knows it, but apparently she's seeing other dead people, right? And so she's starting to see them in her everyday walking life. It's freaking her out. It's making her like unable to concentrate. Excuse me. Where at first she was feeling very confident about her new, about how she was starting to dress different, the inspiration she was taking from Alex and the dreams and stuff like that. Now she's like, she doesn't really want anything to do with it. She kind of just wants to not be around any of that type of anything that has to do with that dream. But eventually things start to escalate to a point where, she has no choice but to either get away from it or confront it. And it is at that point in the movie where things kind of turn. Like, once you kind of get to her, like, accepting what it is that's happening to her and trying to figure it out, trying to solve the mystery of what happens. I'm not going to explain what exactly happens. Let's just say there was a murder. And I'm not going to really go into details of that, but there was a murder, and she's trying to solve and see what happened. And then the movie kind of really picks up in gear from there, because at first I'm watching the movie, I'm like, yo, this is just a movie. Like, this is a movie I would watch on a random Tuesday. This doesn't really feel like a horror movie, so to speak. But when it gets to that, like, end of the second act, third act, that's when it kind of picks up in terms of like, okay, things are serious, things are intense, things are, things kind of have that horror element to it. Which kind of brings me to my point I mentioned earlier about not knowing if I was kind of detached from this as a horror movie just because of the movie itself, or because of some of the things I've watched. Because if you've been paying attention to the channel, y'all know that one of my last reviews was for the First Omen. And I really think the First Omen kind of really messed me up, because I was like, this ain't scary. Where's the scares? Where's the disturbing stuff? Where's the scares? You're tipping me off here. But I had to remember that like horror isn't just one gruesome thing. It's many different things are considered horror. So once I kind of like remove my brain from the shackles of the trauma that the that the first Omen brought upon me, I was able to enjoy this movie a lot more. And that's coincidentally, that's when the plot started to pick up. A lot of things started to happen, and a lot of twists started to be revealed, and it got a lot more interesting in that regard. So I would say that this is, yeah, I mean, and it is a good movie. One of the things that I didn't like about it is a couple of the things were predictable. One of the character reveals was predictable to me. I at least thought it in my head because it was kind of obvious. The twist, one of the other twists that happened was very obvious. I was like, oh, I feel like this movie's gonna go in this direction. And it very much did. And it's not bad that it was obvious, but it's just like, wow, like it makes sense that it would have gone in that route. And the third twist, I didn't really see it coming, but I was still like, okay, that's a possibility that this could be the direction the movie goes in, and it went in that direction. And none of those things are like inherently bad. It's just that something I didn't like because I was like, wow, this was such a fresh idea, and it was something that was very interesting in a way, but the predictable, I don't even know what word I'm going to use. The way it was predictable kind of like was like, oh man, it really, especially with the one twist in particular. I was like, it went there. Like, I mean, I get it, but like, you know, the things I liked about this film, I had to think about some of the things I liked. I liked a lot. I liked the colors. It was a very colorful film. I liked Edgar Wright's direction. It wasn't like he usually does things with like a lot of snappy cuts and whatnot. But one of the things that he does very well, and I'm not 100% sure that he does this in his other movies. I'm not that big on Edgar Wright, but one of the things he does, he uses songs to kind of punctuate or emphasize the scene that you're watching. Like there's this one part where the song that's playing is called Ellie or something like that. And so like the lyrics of the song kind of show what's going on. He's like, Ellie, I've been, not saying that these are the lyrics, but I've been waiting for you and you're walking up now. Whole time Ellie's walking up to the dude. Like, and so it's like, you know, not saying that those are the lyrics of the song, but it's something like that. Like where the lyrics would be like, and you're walking up and I've just been waiting. You might just not think something, but you're really thinking it now. And the whole time it's like, wow, that's spot on to what's happening in the scene right now in terms of the characters' intentions, you know. So that's something that I thought was really interesting. There is a love interest character in this movie who I do like. I thought he was a pretty good addition to the movie. Let me see who the actor is that played him. Michael Ajayo, and also Terrence Stamp is in this movie. Now, when you see Terrence Stamp, you're gonna recognize him from stuff. I am not going through his filmography. I will name one film that he was in, and that's it. And that was the 2003 Haunted Mansion, where he was the butler, I believe, of the mansion. Now, if you can remember that movie, you can remember that face, that guy's in this movie. Okay, but when you see him in this movie, if you watch it, then you will be like, oh, I recognize that guy. I recognize that guy. And you know, so yeah. But all in all, this was a pretty good movie. It was pretty interesting. I like the performances in here. Anya Taylor-Joy wasn't in this too much. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of her, but for her role in the movie, I did think it was pretty cool. And what they gave her to do, she did. You know, she showed up, she performed, she did her thing. And you know, but a lot of credit goes towards Thomasin McKenzie. She kind of did a really good job carrying this film. My only critique of her is her run that she did through this film. Like when she was running, it's like, yo, do you not know how to run? Like do they tell Hollywood people, like actors, like they have to run a certain way? Because like if she runs in real life like this, then it's like, yeah, I don't know what you're getting away from in real life, but you can't be getting away from much. Like, I mean, because this time she should have been like booking it, but like her arms was flailing all over the place. She was running like samba samba, like, but that's my critique of her. Like if you really do run like that, I apologize for making fun of you, but your run was weird in the movie. Okay, your running was weird. But that's all I gotta say. In terms of rating, well, this is an R-rated movie. I want to point that out. Nothing too crazy though. Like no, like the most graphic you'll see is there's a part with a bunch of penises, and it's not like it's like a focus on them. It's like a quick shot, but it's still there. And then there's a lot of violence. Not like a lot of violence, but there's a good amount of violence. And then of course the cursing. Let's see. Critically though, this has a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7 out of 10 on IMDb. In terms of my rating for this, I give this a as a movie, I give it a 4.3 out of 5. And as a horror movie, I give it a 2.9 out of 5. Like I said, the scares weren't a lot in the movie. There was a lot of tension. There was some suspense. There were some things that were just a little creepy, but it worked more as a thriller horror than like a straight up scary horror, which is fine though. Which is fine. Like like I said, like in terms of a horror movie, like being scared or whatever the case may be, it's kind of low on the scale for me. But as a movie, it's a solid movie. I do think it's a solid movie. And I did enjoy watching it. But other than that, I mean, that's really all I have to say about this film. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Where can you watch Last Night in Soho? Well, it is now streaming on Peacock. So if you have a Peacock subscription, go ahead, check it out. It's not long. It's like just under 2 hours, like an hour, 56 minutes, I believe. Yes, an hour, 56 minutes long. So it's a good watch. It's a nice watch. Yeah, hella British too. That's another thing I'm gonna say. But other than that, though, that's all I got for you guys. So thank you for tuning into this review. If you enjoyed this review, go ahead and hit that like button down below. Comment below. Have you seen Last Night in Soho? What did you think of it? Follow us on social media, all that good stuff: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. And until next time, guys, stay tuned for the next review. Be scary, stay spooky. Peace.